All right, so first off, thanks for showing up to the Frazier House information session. My name is Jermaine Jimoh. I'll be your instructor should you choose to proceed with our opportunity here. I'll be providing you with a brief overview of the program's intentions and expectations. We will have a short question and answer session at the end of the presentation, so if you do have any questions, just jot them down and we'll make sure we address them after the presentation. So the first question that we're going to start off with, or first point, is what is low voltage? So everybody saw that low voltage when you saw the ad or when someone spoke to you about it. So what pops into your head when you think of low voltage? Is anybody familiar with the term at all?
I think I saw the description of certain type of, equipment. Could be communications related equipment, could be security system equipment. It was 2 or 3 other.
Right on point. Well, you're right there on the money. So in the low voltage industry, we're basically integrated into every technological platform on a day-to-day basis. So like you mentioned, deals with communication systems, like internet, phone services, satellite systems, surveillance systems, fire and alarm systems. So basically anything that we use for communication falls under that low voltage platform. At Frazier House in Creative Motive, we have created a training program that prepares you for employment with companies like DirecTV, AT&T, Mostech, Advanced Technologies, Vivid Home Security, Spectrum Communications, and a lot of other companies as well. Our intention is basically to get you national certifications so that you are fully equipped to be a first pick at any of these particular companies once we get you to the interview stage. Compensation, that is something that we're going to jump into, and again, we're just going to get right into the meat and potatoes of this thing. So, has anyone did any homework on the payout or the compensation for a low voltage technician? Does anybody have any relatives or friends that may do cable installation, satellite, phone installation? Okay, you have something? All right. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to break it down into 2 sections here. So, as far as being an employee, most companies have 2 different platforms. You either have an hourly basis or what we call a piece rate base, which means that you get paid per job. Each company, does things a little differently based on finances and based on insurance. The average technician coming out the first year is going to make anywhere from $38,000 to maybe $65,000 on average. Now there are some exceptions. There are some technicians that make less. There are more that actually make a higher number within that first year. And it's all based on your own work ethic and the amount of attention that you put into cultivating the craft. So employment compensation is pretty straightforward. Most companies that you start off with on an hourly basis, most of those companies will start off at maybe anywhere from $16 to $18 an hour, and then they'll go up to anywhere upwards of $25 to $30 an hour, depending on the company and depending on the tier of your position. And some companies that's based on seniority as well. But I know a lot of companies are kind of getting away from the seniority-based model, and they're compensating based on performance. One of the things that I always mention during the training is the possibility of starting your own company as a low voltage technician. I started off as an employee, as a technician. I was a technician for over 8 years, and then I became a regional trainer here most recently. And when I left my employer and I started doing this low voltage for myself, it kind of opened my eyes up to the possibilities, and this is something that I definitely want to share with everyone that comes through the course, or the opportunities as an entrepreneur. So most contractors or independent low voltage techs typically make a whole lot more money than an employee. That's just a given. However, there are more expenses that you have to consider as well. Vehicle expenses, materials, fuel, insurance. But all in all, it kind of balances itself out. It all depends on what your intentions are. Some people would rather go to an employer because of benefits or maybe a sense of security, and then you have other individuals that may want to step on out and create their own platform. As far as entrepreneurial opportunities, you have to think. So most people that live in major cities either have systems where they're dealing with a wired infrastructure like Spectrum or AT&T, where there's no satellite involved. In other cases, you have Dish Network, you have Bell TV, and all of these companies outsource contracts for installation. So if you have your own vehicle, you have your own tools, you can easily apply for one of these contracts, and you can also start your own fleet. So it may start off with just you, but it's very easy to expand as long as you can handle the workload. So basically what we're going to be doing for you is positioning you for both of those opportunities. We're going to get you certified through the SDCA, which is a national certification. We're also going to get you certified for home theater, RF distribution, and we're going to get you certified for DirecTV new hire certification. So that's basically going to position you to be the top pick for any recruiting company as it pertains to DirecTV. And we're going to focus on RF distribution in general, but we're going to put a lot of attention towards satellite technology, because those are the employers that we have lined up that would be the best choices for employment. So we're going to go ahead and get into the actual program requirements. So the program is going to last 5 weeks. It's going to be 3 days per week. That's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the hours are going to be from 8 to 12. All right, so that's 5 weeks, 3 days, 4 hours a day. All right, now, considering that this is going to be a condensed course, we can only allow for 1 absence. If you have a family emergency or something of that nature, those are the situations that we can't pre-forecast. Communication is key. If you don't show up, we don't get a call or some type of notification, that's going to be immediate termination from the program. So we can only allow 1 absence throughout the program. Otherwise, you'll be too far behind, and you have to come in to the next availability. All right. Now there will be a certification test that everyone will have to pass at the end of the course. Now this course is it consists of 100 questions for the main SBCA test. The home theater certification consists of about 20 questions, and the service certification consists of about 50 questions. Now these are all time tests. We're going to have practice materials. We're going to have testing aids that we're going to issue those out the first week so that we can start practicing and going over a lot of these concepts. So when it does come down to the testing, we'll be a little bit ahead of the game. What I've noticed most is with the testing is we have a technique that has proven to be pretty effective. Answer the questions that you know off the top. All the other ones, you answer at the end. That way you have enough time to do your research, and we can actually kind of give you a little assistance on that as well. So the test is not a hard test, but it is something that you will have to put some effort into, especially if you're not familiar with any of these concepts or any other theory that we're going to be talking about. So I will tell you that it's not one of the tests that you can just kind of wing. You will have to put some type of serious effort into it. And you only get 2 tries. So if you fail twice, then we'll have to put you in another class, or you'll have to purchase the test, the new test codes out of pocket. So we're going to put a lot of attention in the training and making sure that everyone passes the test, but I just want to let you know that it will take some effort on your behalf. All right, last but not least, this is actually one of the most important aspects of the program is safety. So in this industry, you definitely have to take care of your body. You have to have a keen eye and awareness of your surroundings, because things can go bad real fast, you know. And if anyone's worked in a construction environment, then you know the same rules apply. You do everything like it's your first time, because you know that moment that you step up could be your last. So some of the hazards that you'll have to consider in this industry will be extreme weather conditions. Has anyone ever worked in you know, temperatures, you know, 15 degrees below? What's the coldest temperature that you worked in? Well, if you got to think about it, it hadn't been that cold. Well,
probably the 20s.
By the 20s, okay, and even with the 20s, you know, it's bearable, but when that wind starts to kicking in and you're working outside and you're twisting connectors and you're working with hand tools, you wish for the summertime, you know, on those days. So those are things that you have to consider. Extreme heat. We see how hot it is out there today, right? So you have to be prepared for that. This is what you wake up to do every day. Just, you know, wake up and say, hey, I'm going to sweat all day. I'm probably going to be a little funky by the end of the day. This is just something that I have to acknowledge, and this is going to happen. So it's about 98 degrees outside. How hot do you think it's in an attic right now?
120.
Try about 160. In the middle of the day, yeah, you're looking at between 140 to 165 degrees, depending on the ventilation inside of some of these attics. Also, you have to consider the confined spaces in some of these attics. You know, some attics are tall enough for you to walk in. Some of them you can only crawl on your hands and knees. Some of them you can only squat in. Sometimes you have to lay out flat and kind of shimmy across those joists so that you don't come down, you know, onto somebody's living room. You know, so these are all things that have to be taken into account. Also, you may have to crawl under houses, right? So. That's something to consider as well. You have, you know, poisonous insects, you have spiders, you have snakes, you have possums, you have raccoons, you have raw sewage under some houses, you know, and sometimes you may not figure that out until you get under there and, you know, and you step in a puddle or something. So these are all things that you have to consider in this industry. One of the things that you definitely want to, what I've learned or what I've noticed as a technician is it actually helped me take better care of myself, because in the summertime, you got to drink water all day. Even if you're not thirsty, you got to drink water. I've witnessed, you know, far too many technicians, you know, pass out on job sites, pass out in attics. I've witnessed technicians that have been stung by insects or bitten by animals, and you know, and rushed to the emergency room. Some made it, some didn't. So this is not one of those industries where, you know, you can just do things haphazardly. You know, you have to be focused, you have to be serious, and if you can, you know, stay on top of the safety aspect, and if you have a strong work ethic, I mean, this is a beautiful industry to work in. So some of the daily routines that you may want to develop is daily stretching, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you may be in a house where there's a 3-foot attic space. So if you haven't stretched out your bones and stretched out your joints, you don't want to get into that attic, turn your body a certain way and develop a cramp or some type of pain that you can't alleviate in a timely manner, because that means that if it's in the summertime, you have to consider heat exhaustion, and then also you have to consider that you're balancing your weight on these 1.5-inch joists inside of an attic. So one false move and you're coming down through somebody's living room or bedroom. So these are all things that you have to, you know, be mindful about when working in these elements. So you'll be squatting, you'll be bending, you'll be stretching, you know, all by keeping your balance and using power tools, right? So failure to take these precautions can result in serious injury, or it can result in death. You know, so, and I have to put that out there because these are just realistic things that happen, you know, in this industry. But if you commit yourself to taking this seriously and looking at this as a trade opportunity and a craft to cultivate versus just a job, it'll definitely work for you. It'll definitely work for you. You also have to be able to carry up to 75 pounds. That could be packs of concrete. It could be equipment. On some installations, you may have to haul cinder blocks onto 25-foot roof, so you have to have the ability, to carry that weight consistently. Also, you have to be willing to scale a 28-foot ladder or a 40-foot ladder, depending on the type of job that you'll be deployed to. Most residential installations, a 16-foot ladder is typically the ladder of choice. Excuse me, but in a lot of commercial installations, you'll definitely use a 28-foot ladder, and in some cases, you'll use a 40-foot ladder. So if you're afraid of heights, that's something that you want to have a heart-to-heart with yourself about this evening. Figure out if it's something that you want to work through, or if it's something that you just can't do. Throughout my years of training, I've had I can't count how many technicians that have gotten halfway up a ladder and just hugged onto that thing and couldn't come down. We had to go up with a lift and everything and get them down. So this is one of those industries where you have to be real with yourself. Set some realistic expectations for yourself. If you get out into the sun and you can't deal with it, don't force yourself to do it. You know your body, better than anybody else. So trust your body, and always keep safety first. And this will definitely be a lucrative industry for you to work in. So that is basically the basic overview of what you guys will be getting into, what the expectations are. One of the things that I always put a lot of emphasis on is punctuality. We like to start nice and crisp in the morning so that we get the full effect, with the time allotted. If you do run into a situation where there may be a wreck or there's traffic or anything like that, always reach out immediately, communicate. Don't wait until 7:55 and say, hey, I'm in traffic. It's going to take me 30 minutes. I always say if you're on time, you're late. That's what I was taught. So if class starts at 8 o'clock, I would probably make an effort to be here by 7:15, 7:30, at the latest. If you leave early and you do get into a wreck or there's some type of traffic, chances are you'll probably still make it here around a decent time. But if you wait until 7:30, 7:45 to leave, depending on how close you are and whether or not you have to get on the highway, so you can make that determination. All right, so that basically sums up the overview of the program. So I'm going to open the floor up for any type of questions or concerns. In some applications, some basic residential applications, but once you get into the commercial and industrial field, then there's a few different licenses that you have to have for that. But by getting into this industry, it's a real easy transition to get into solar. And because basically outside of the difference in the electrical system, it's basically all the same type of work, circuitry. You're hooking up panels, you're running cables, and you are connecting to junction points. So same concept. Good question.
And we're trying to give you a realistic view of what you have to do in order to be in this industry. And if you accept that challenge, you remember Jermaine told you, you can miss one class and you have to be here from 8 to 12.
In the morning?
Yes, in the morning, from on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. 8 to 12, one class you can miss. We are not trying to sugarcoat this. You can make a substantial amount of money in this industry, but it requires effort and commitment on your part. And if you're not willing to do that, don't sign up, because we have the tools to help you pass that test. So don't be worried about that. We've got the tools to help you pass that test, but it's on you. Because if you don't do your part, we can't do ours. And the only other observation that I would make is we need 10 people to conduct this class. As you might guess, since it's no charge to you, it's expensive for us to conduct these classes. So we need 10 people. So what we need for you to do is to make sure we got 10 folks. And if you can't help us to accumulate that 10 people, then we're going to have to wait until we get 10 people who are committed to start this class.
Right. It's not gonna be easy, but it's simple. So that's the deal. You know, if you're dedicated and you're committed, I mean, it'll definitely, you know, put you in a good place. My whole life up until just recently, I've always worked in the field, whether it was satellite, construction. I've always been a blue collar worker, and it's allowed me, you know, not only to transition into a more corporate environment, but also, you know, create a sales company and an installation company. You know, just a few years ago, I was a technician. Actually, I was installing my own jobs. I was making my own sales, installing my own jobs. Just maybe a little less than 2 years ago. You know, I was a one-stop shop for my own company. Now that's grown, and now I've got a larger team now, so I don't have to do as many installs. I do, you know, oversee certain projects, larger projects, but again, just a couple of years ago, you'd see me riding out here in my van, my ladders, every day, you know. So it's definitely an industry where you can scale up, you know, in a short amount of time. This is not one of those industries where you have to wait 10, 15 years in order to expand. You know, you can expand, you know, within 6 months, you know, if you make the right choices. You know? That's what I love about it, because there's so many opportunities and there's so many ways that you can, you know, kind of custom fit, you know, your own career.
Let me also, my name is Francis Smith, I'm the Executive Director. Let me also say this, our goal is to help scale you up to becoming a lineman with, you know, and other opportunities even for self-employment. It is not, this is just the start, but if you become productive, our goal is to work with you to even scale you up, like Jermaine owns his own business, and to scale your business so you can employ other people too. So that's why we really need you to be committed to this process. It's going to be a journey, so I don't want you to think it's not. This is just the beginning of your journey to help you catapult to your next level, okay?
I actually have a personal story that I'm gonna tell you about that. The last 3.5 years, well, not 3.5 years, but 3.5 years I was a trainer at DirecTV. I had the privilege to train one individual in particular. He had did 16 years in prison. When he came over to Mostech, he had been out maybe about a year or so, and he was on death row. So I don't know all the details about his criminal background. Whatever happened, he was able to go through the interview process and get hired. So I trained him. So the last 1.5 years before I left, you know, he was a technician, pretty good technician. And I kind of told him that, hey, we had a real, you know, good personal relationship too. So I told him that, hey, you know, I'm on my way out. I started my own company, and you know, now I'm about to invest my time into that. And a few short months later, he came out too and was like, well, look, I'll do the installs for you. You know, you make the sales, I'll do the installs for you. You know, so he went and got him a van, got him some ladders, some tools, and he started off doing all my installs, or most of my installs. So we did that for a few months, and he came and sat down with me and he was like, man, I definitely appreciate what you're doing and helping me out, and I see, you know, that, you know, you stepped out on faith and everything is working well. No offense, but you know, I like to get my own thing going like that, you know. So of course, you know, I'm an open book. You know, I showed him exactly what he needed to do to start his company. You know, get him a tax ID, get him registered with Dun and Bradstreet, and basically within 6 months, he had his own dealership. He still has his own dealership right now. So he's basically doing the same thing that I'm doing. He's making his own sales. He's doing his own custom installations. And this is a guy that was on death row for 16 years. He's only been out of prison 3. And he's already got his own company, a profitable company, based off of what he learned in just, you know, maybe 18 months of being in this industry. So it's all about your work ethic and your intentions, you know. So if you wanna make it work for you, it'll work, you know. You just have to be dedicated and know that it's not gonna be a cakewalk, but it is possible, you know.
So what we want you to take away from this is the first step of your journey. Getting trained for a high-skilled, high-wage job. But this is not the end of your journey. Because what you have to understand is through this journey, you're gonna need good team members, we call it the mastermind. In my Oasis program, we have mastermind groups. So what's gonna happen is, you're gonna start with Jermaine. Then our other associates, we have Harmony Center that does counseling. We have UNTD Law that will do your legal part aspect. Zamwasi Homes, we're gonna do your increments of success, your business and stuff. What happens is with those teams, groups of people, we're gonna scale you up in this one-stop shop.
Re-entry.
Right, re-entry, and Oasis for the re-entry. So if you know individuals who, Oasis is gonna be that partner for us. So what happens is this. Once you go through these different boot camps, phases, trainings, we're taking that part of you that was gold. You were in that mind. We had to polish you up. We had to prime you. That purification process, you're gonna go through a little fire. You understand? You're gonna have some pressure. So I don't want you to think that it's gonna be a walk in the park. But if you commit the discipline, we're gonna see you to that next level. Okay? But you gotta be what? Disciplined.
Yes.
I'm no nonsense, I'll tell you right now. If Jermaine tells me that you miss or you coming in late, you see me. I'm not a nice person. I'm not. I smile with you, I laugh with you, but then I'm gonna exit you out. Because why? Success runs in my race, and I am determined to demonstrate that. But to be successful, you must be what? Disciplined and determined. You don't have to know it all. You understand what I'm saying? Bill Gates don't know it all. Warren Buffett don't know it all. But he has a what? Mastermind group of people who make up for their weaknesses to help catapult them to their success. And that's what we've created here at Frazier. Okay? So it's up to you to go to that next step. Frazier House offers the legal aspect through UNTD Law. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
So we're a social service wraparound. And we offer case management, job training, and the placement, as well as we have a policy program called Increments of Success that's gonna help you learn how to build assets. And a business is an asset. And a part of that, we're gonna show you what you have to do to actually go into your business. From registrations to your business plan, as well as you leveraging dollars. And what's gonna be your best market to leverage those dollars and where to go.